Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Bird, founder of Acquisition Conference, coming to Salt Lake City on March 21st, and I'm joined here with Heather Griffith, Barber. She is the founder of Queen of Wraps, and you have quite a name around that. She has been an entrepreneur really out of the womb. That's what you said when you first came in
Yes.
here. She's been in Utah, and she created Utah's largest vehicle wrap company, known for her entrepreneurial drive and boundless energy, which I agree with 100%. As soon as you walk into a room, you demand respect, but also you elevate the energy, which I really enjoyed. I'm happy to have you at the Acquisition Conference coming up. So share with us a little bit more about how you got started in the Queen of Wraps business. And then, of course, we're going to talk about what you just went through, which was an exit. So share with us more about that.
Okay. So I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family. If I asked my dad for $1, he'd say, "When are you going to pay me back?" And so we just had a lot of entrepreneurial drive. And my dad owned a business brokerage by night. By day, he was in medical doing all sorts of stuff, but he wanted his kids to learn how to work. And so he owned several different businesses over the time, art gallery, commercial cleaning company, a grease trap cleaning business, those type, just random things, totally industry agnostic. And he bought them so his kids would learn how to work and learn how to run businesses. So literally I was the only 8-year-old with a job. Like, we're coming up on President's Day weekend. I worked President's Day weekend.
Yeah.
I was cleaning carpets and I was, learning how to make invoices and that type of stuff. So growing up, it was just natural for us. And so I was second nature. I started at the University of Utah when I was 15.
Okay.
Total different story. Graduated when I was 18. And I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go
start my own business.
Well, not quite yet.
Okay.
First thing you do when you get out of undergrad is you go find a big company to work for, right? Isn't that like what you do is go find a big company and get experience? So I started working at Zions Bank, and this is a true story. This is an absolute true story. I was 19 years old, and I took over the original Zions Bank branch, like on First South and Main Street, like the one that Brigham Young started.
Wow.
I took that over when I was 19 years old because I had exactly what Zions Bank wanted. I had a degree and prior banking experience. So I became the customer service manager at 19 years old at Zions Bank. So I'm like, okay, this is it. This is going to be great. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go straight to the top. This is going to be wonderful. Yeah. And I had the eye of the tiger, and I was ready to go. And I had a newly allocated marketing budget. I'm like, oh, I am going to blow this up. This is going to be amazing. And so I decided that we were going to do a customer appreciation luau. Now, this was prior to Pinterest. Let me just tell you about this one, okay? So I made cute little signs and invitations and all the stuff. And I had all my tellers giving out, come back on Friday. It's going to be this customer appreciation luau. And so I'm doing all the stuff. Morning of the luau, I've got a moo-moo on. I've got a lei, and I've got a plumeria behind my ear. And I'm making cute little skewers with pineapples and cherries and just so cute.
Dressed in the part.
It was great. Yeah. I had paper mache pineapples. It was absolutely fantastic. And at 10 o'clock, Dwight calls me, which I kid you not, Dwight was the assistant regional manager of Zions Bank.
Okay.
Calls me. And I'm thinking, deep down on my toes, I honestly thought Dwight was going to say, you're doing an amazing job. Dwight called me and berated me for 15 minutes how this is not the Zions Bank way. You are way too creative. Stay in your lane. And a single tear came down and landed on my moo-moo. And that's when I knew I am never working for someone else again. My personality is too big. I'm too creative. This corporate life is not for me. But I was very kind, and I let Zions Bank pay for my master's degree, my MBA, and then I promptly left right after that. So here I am, 23 years old. I've had my corporate experience. I've got my degree. My brothers are the only people I know because I'm 23 years old. And we see a hole in the market where Salt Lake, like I want you just to envision like Salt Lake in 2006, 2005, 2006. Like we were not that far off from horse and buggies. You know, this was an unsophisticated market. And I had traveled all around and I had seen vehicle wraps in particular in different markets. So New York, LA, Chicago. There's nothing like that in Utah.
Yeah.
But people were asking for it, but no one knew how to do it. So we were too young and dumb and stupid. And so we said, why not? We want a business. Let's go in together. So my older brother was 24, I was 23, and my younger brother was 21, fresh off of his mission, engaged, bought a house, and going to school. That was our leadership team.
3, yeah.
You know, the brain trust there. But if you're familiar with the Dunning-Kruger chart, which we should probably have the graphic right here. So the Dunning-Kruger chart is at the beginning of the life cycle, you have all this confidence and all this, oh, how hard can this be?
Yes.
And I hate to tell you how many of our meetings had like ended with the phrase, how hard could this be? We'll figure it out. You have all this confidence at the beginning. And then all of a sudden you get into it and you realize, oh crap, what have I done? And that's called the valley of despair. And as you start gaining those 10,000 hours, as Malcolm Gladwell would say, your confidence starts going back up, but your competence starts increasing too. So 2006, we start this company. We're like, this is going to be great. This is going to be wonderful. 2008 happened, the complete crash. We had no idea because we were too young and dumb and stupid and didn't know what was going on. And we ended the financial crisis on top. We put all of the other vehicle wrap companies out of business in Utah because we held on, because we were too stupid to know that a recession had happened. And so our confidence and our competence slowly merged and hit that point. So to answer your question, we started the business because we A, saw a hole in the market. B, we had the confidence to do it because we were too dumb to know what we didn't know. C, we always had an exit theoretically in mind because we had seen my dad flip businesses. He'd flip businesses like people would flip houses. So we would own them for 6 months, 4 years, whatever. He would take a business, either break it up, sell it off, or take a business and add sales and marketing and then grow it and then sell it. So we had the model, but once we got actually into Queen of Wraps, it became a lifestyle business in that we were able to do a lot.
Yeah,
with
there's
that.
a lot to that.
Yeah. And so we were running it as a lifestyle business for about 15 years. And then we had a completely unsolicited PE offer come in. And at that point, we were like, oh, crap. Like, what are we going to do? You know, we need to, like, doctor this up. We got to get our financials ready. So I would never encourage anyone who wants to sell to do what I did because we did it the wrong way. But our business was so strong and our intangibles were so strong that the PE was willing to pay exponentially more than in our industry, 3X is usually what it is. We got close to 6.
Let's walk through that. Let's walk through the value creation of the business, and then also what you had to clean up.
Yeah.
Because those that are out there now listening to this or watching it, they are either in a position where they're building their business or they're looking for an exit, and they have to continually understand how to create massive value within their business. Can we speak to that?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So the first thing that I would say is I can give you this link, Value Builder or any other metrics. You can go through the checklist. There are 8 areas, and you get a score on it. because your EBITDA isn't the only score of your business. That doesn't include any intangibles. That doesn't include, so intangibles as a very broad term, meaning IP, processes, management, whatever else I'm missing there. So you need to know where you're starting is what I'm trying to convey to you.
Yeah.
You need to know where you're starting so you know how to improve, okay? And most business owners fall, dare I say, ass backwards into a business. Like, okay, I guess I own a plumbing company now. I used to be a plumber, and now I have a truck, so now I'm a plumbing company.
Yeah.
They don't go the MBA route. They don't go, the corporate and then understand
how to
the business.
Manage a business.
You got it.
Yeah.
You absolutely got it. It's the Dunning-Kruger. They're figuring it out as they go. So, you need to know where you're starting. Let's just say that one, okay? And then you need to have clear metrics as to how you know you have a successful business. If you are showing up every day, you do not have a successful business. You have a job. You have a very expensive job, because a lot of times, like, there's so many years that I had to pay to work at my company. We didn't, in the beginning, like, I'd get a tax bill at the end. They're unrealized gains, but I'm paying 50% taxes, 25% taxes on this. I'm like, how is this even possible? I'm paying to work at my own company. This doesn't make sense, because we weren't running it correctly. We didn't have those metrics correctly. So I know one of your goals in life is to help people compress time.
Yes.
Don't do what I did.
Yeah.
And set it up correctly from the beginning. Now, for me, that looked like EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System. Once we found that framework, which took years, by the way, we were able to we were here, and then all of a sudden we went here, hockey stick. Yeah. We were hockey stick, up and to the right, up and to the right, up and to the right. Because we had that framework to work from.
What was the most important framework, do you believe, that's within EOS that helped you guys, or was it, each component? But I know that there are specific pillars that they utilize.
Correct.
What was the framework, and what was the best for you guys, and how it took your company from, where you're saying X to Y? What was that?
So we have a lot of visionaries.
Yes.
So I have, my father was a visionary. He taught us all how to be visionaries. We had 4 visionary owners and 0 implementers. Not a good combination. Because, visionaries, we're going here, we're doing this, we're going to climb this mountain.
Yes.
But you need someone who's the we're just talking about your wife,
yes.
You need the COO. You need the person who's like, okay, that is a really good idea. How do we break that down into manageable steps? And that's what EOS did for us is you can say, okay, here's my 10-year target. Here's my 3-year picture. What does this exactly look like? Here's my 1 year. Here in the next 90 days, what do I need to accomplish in order to do this? So that breaking down those very specific measurable goals to get to that vision. It's really great to have a vision. Mm-hmm. It always reminds me of like that Seinfeld episode where it's like, anyone can take a reservation. It's the holding the reservation that's the important part of that. So I feel like that particular framework helped us with that. I've also seen it work the flip side. You have a lot of Indians. A dear friend of mine is the editor at Utah Business Magazine. Fabulous woman, absolutely great. She wants someone to start the vision. She knows how to make the vision happen, but she needs someone to give that charge. We're going into battle. This is what we're doing. This is what success is going to look like, and then she can work backwards from that. So I've seen it both ways.
So you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there are obviously different personalities.
Yes.
But then there's a framework as to how each of those personalities can
Correct.
work well together
Absolutely.
within the EOS system.
Correct. Another
That's
thing.
good.
So I'm like, I'm sure you've noticed by now, I'm like as type A gets. Like this is, I'm the poster child for type A. Okay. So one of the books that has changed my life is the 6 Types of Working Genius. So let me ask you, in your life, are there tasks that fill your cup?
Absolutely.
Are there tasks where you feel like I am going to shoot myself if I have to do this again?
Yeah, like spreadsheets.
There you go.
Yeah, spreadsheets. Yeah.
There you go, spreadsheets. Absolutely. So I want you to think about a mug, okay? So think about a mug you're going to go get a cup of coffee. If you had a mug that was insulated and had a lid and was all ready to go, how long would it keep that coffee warm for you?
Long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
It would fill you up. It would, you could have it at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Great. All day long, you'd have that mug, okay? What if you had an open coffee cup?
Not good.
It would stay warm for a while. So that would be a competency. I would consider the insulated mug a genius, a open coffee cup, you're competent. Yeah. Like it's going to work. It's a tool that will work. And then what if you had a mug that had a hole in the bottom?
No coffee.
0 coffee. It's not going to be hot,
and
you're not going to have any coffee. So therefore, it drains you.
Yes.
That is a task that drains you. Everyone has a genius. It's just figuring out what that genius is. And if you are comparing someone's coffee cup with a hole in it to someone's coffee cup that's insulated, it's not going to work because that's not apples to apples. So you have a genius, a competency, which is you're okay at, but it's not your favorite thing, and you have tasks that drain you.
That's good.
The key is staying in that genius zone and putting 18% of your energy and letting other people pick up where you drop.
So I have a question. Did you want to sell your company?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like money.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And then when you had somebody that offered you, were there multiple offers, or how did you strategically, there was no, hey, I've got one offer, so we're actually valued at such and such. Let's go shop the market.
No, absolutely not. Because
Okay.
this offer was so good that
Okay.
it's like someone walking up, I equate it to someone walking up to your house and saying, I want this exact house in this exact location. I will give you this to move out right now. And you say, where do I sign?
Yeah. Okay.
Because let's say your house is worth $1 million and this person is giving you $6 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's a good deal. Yeah.
That's
so
a
there's
good
really
deal
no
for everyone.
negotiation there that you
No
had to really
negotiation.
go through. I
Well,
think.
we negotiated up.
Oh, well, of course, right?
They came in at
Yeah.
5.6 and
Yeah.
we negotiated up.
Okay. So I like the fact that you're saying that, one, you had some things that you needed to get cleaned up prior to the exit. I know we touched on a few things. Was there anything else that you can add within that process to help with people that are within that they're in that scenario and they're about to exit? Is it the financials? What?
Everything.
Okay. Got
Okay,
it.
so
personnel.
Yeah, everything.
Okay.
First we got lazy.
Okay.
So
don't get lazy.
Don't get lazy. We ran everything through the business because my goal is to pay 0 taxes. So corporate retreats that, for my mom's 70th birthday,
Yes.
the entire family went on a cruise to Alaska and we took
A
chartered
whiteboard.
fishing trip. Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like money,
Yeah.
like we were running it all through the business because our goal was to pay 0 in taxes. If we were living high on the hog for a lot of years, okay? If we would have had the EOS framework again and said, okay, in 10 years, we are going to sell this, we would have structured this differently. We wouldn't have run, like my daughter has one of those like watches for kids that's like a phone.
Yes.
That line was on our corporate plan. Why not, right? We had 56 lines on our corporate plan. How many of those were actual corporate expenditures?
Yes.
Probably 14
Yeah.
of the 56. We were paying random cell phones, this type of stuff. So financials, yes, you do need to get in line. One thing that we like literally fell backwards into that we didn't understand, that I, starting this next company, now I'm understanding this, is our intangibles, monetizing those intangibles. So my company is called Queen of Wraps. It is the #1 searched term in Utah for vehicle wraps. It is complete unaided recall. So I want you to think of Xerox, Kleenex, Queen of Wraps. Okay, so I have data to back this up. Okay, so my intangible is the Queen of Wraps brand. So my company versus 123 Wraps or whatever a different company is, mine is worth more because my brand. Okay,
branding and positioning.
The positioning of it, yes. And so that's one thing, is blue sky, my name. Okay, the second thing is that we should have done, that we were working on, we were getting into this process as the offer came, is all of our SOPs, our standard operating procedures. That is money left on the table. Okay, so we're setting up this podcast today. You are going to sell Acquisition IQ podcast. Okay, you want an 8th grader to run this. Okay, so your SOP says you book this time at the mill. It's going to take 1 hour. There are 3 microphones. We need to set the levels at this. The camera needs to go at this angle.
That's good.
So everyone knows exactly what to do. So if you get hit by a bus tomorrow, your wife can sell this podcast. So you can monetize those intangibles. We were in the process of working on that. If we would have had another year before this offer came, I would have had our entire process totally documented.
Yes.
That you could replicate. It's called the franchise model.
Yeah.
Anyone could replicate that. And you have the Queen of Wraps way. This is exactly how we do it. That's how you get your multiples up. That's how you create a business that you can exit from. If it's you with the plunger, that's not a company. That's you with an expensive job. If it's you with a truck, with branding, with a process, with a bunch of employees, and you're in the Bahamas, 3 weeks a year, that's something you can sell.
Yeah. That's very wise. I know many times I'm consulting with founders and companies and whatnot, and you see that they either have a really good process or they don't have a really good process. And a lot of it's the intake process of the customer journey, but then it's also the internal systems, just like what you're saying.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of value to that, right? Because
that's where most of your value is.
Yeah. I think, you got to put yourself in the seat, though, of the acquirer. And that's why I love doing this podcast, because you have to think with the end in mind, and then think as if somebody is coming into your business as opposed to you being in the business. So you're always having an outsider's perspective on the creation of what it is you've created or will create in the future.
Absolutely. And that goal, that target, like you and I had talked about, yes, in the future, this is what I want to do. I want to be acquired. So therefore, I'm going to work backwards to that goal. And to your point, everyone is going to exit their business at some point. Okay? They are going to retire, they're going to shut it down, or someone is going to buy it. There are only 3 options.
Or they die.
Okay, 4. Which I would put under under retire.
Yeah, retired. Yeah,
but there are really only 3 options.
Yeah.
One of my friends has this daughter who's dating this boy in high school, and they're 15, and she's like, they only have 2 options. They're either going to get married or they're going to break up. Those are the only 2 options. There's no third option.
Yeah, it's true.
Your 15-year-old, I don't know, maybe she'll marry the guy or she's going to break up. There are only 2 options. There are only 3 options in a business. You're going to shut it down, you're going to sell it, or you're going to retire. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah, a lot of people's emotions get tacked onto businesses. Really, obviously, it can be something of pride to build something.
It's very
of value,
emotional.
But really, at the end of the day, like you said, it's processes, systems, team, and then ultimately the problem that you're solving for the world.
Absolutely. And going back to this house analogy, like the house that you build for your family of 5 kids might not necessarily be the house that you need when you retire. if you have a 6,000 square foot house with 5 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, whatever, when you're retired, you can't have the master on the second level. You don't want to have 27 bathrooms that have to have plumbers come out and cleaned and whatever. You want something smaller. You want something more manageable. And so knowing that you can't be emotionally tied to this beautiful house that you built and this amazing family, gathering place that you had, eventually you are going to need to move on.
Post-exit, what is life like? And then also, not just from a monetization standpoint, but I think it's more from a responsibility standpoint. What do you feel responsible for now based on your exit? Because, you had such a focus on the creation of value within your business. So now you're on this other side.
Yeah.
What does life look like?
Love that question. Absolutely love that question. So I had to really reevaluate my life because literally my face is on the side of a building. Okay. For 20 years, my face has been on the side of a building. This has been my identity. Yeah. So it's almost like when your youngest child goes to kindergarten and the mom goes, whoa, what am I going to do now? Like I was a stay-at-home mom for all these years. Now I'm a sudden like, oh, okay. So there's a mourning process, but then there's also this fire lit underneath me. I mean, like I woke up at 2 a.m. and I know I'm on the right track because I had to physically restrain myself from going and getting my laptop and just busting. Mm-hmm. Like I am bursting with this energy. I am going to create 20 female millionaires in 5 years. And I am going to do that by helping 100 companies exit. I feel personally responsible, and I feel like I'm Alexander Hamilton, like I'm writing like I'm running out of time. I feel, especially in Utah, that our female founders, number one, need encouragement, and number two, they need someone that looks like them that has had a successful exit. Yeah, it's great to have an Etsy shop. Yeah, it's great to be a hairdresser, whatever. But I'm talking about real wealth. And I'm talking about generational wealth. And I want them to look at me and say, okay, Heather is a Mormon female founder, 23 when she started. I can do that same thing.
It's inspirational. There's a lot of people just like you out there that want to do that.
I hope. Yeah. And I hope that they don't limit themselves.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're taking the charge. It takes responsibility. So you've had this experience, and really we're excited for this next chapter for you. And another thing we're excited for is the acquisition conference coming up. And you're actually going to be one of our hot seat facilitators, being able to, one, share your story, and then two, lead us through some question and answers through some of the things that you've gone through as a founder, from obviously getting to an exit, post-exit, and then helping us all in the room understand how to walk through that. So again, we're excited to have you there.
I'm excited too.
And genuinely, getting to know you a little bit better today about what it is you've done, and then also your legacy that you want to leave on this earth. So once again, guys, thank you so much for watching and also listening to the Acquisition IQ podcast. And if you have not yet taken a look at aquacon.live, which is the website, you guys can fill out a form of interest to come to the acquisition conference in Salt Lake City on March 21st. We look forward to seeing you there.